Evening. I'd like to call the January 2021 Delaware Muncie Metropolitan Board of Zoning Appeals regularly monthly meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bishop?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Ms. Kennison? Ms. Mathewson?
Here.
Mr. Watson?
Here.
Mr. Wisely?
Here.
Mr. Fowler?
Here. At this time, we need to do election of officers. First up would be chairman. Do we have any nominations for chairman?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to nominate Jim Fowler as chairman.
We have any other nominations?
Yep.
Nope.
Okay.
Well, not hearing any other nominations, then we can declare nominations closed. And I suppose I could still call the roll to make sure that. So.
Whatever we do, Marta, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. So on the matter of Mr. Fowler for chairman, Mr. Bishop,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Mathewson,
Yes.
Mr. Watson,
Yes.
Mr. Wisely,
Yes.
Mr. Fowler.
Yes.
Very good. That's 6 yes, 0 no with 1 absent, and Mr. Fowler is our 2021 chairman.
Thank you, everybody, for having a vote of confidence in me. So, now we need a vice chair. Do I make nominations or can I?
I don't know. That's
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Kelly Watson for vice chair.
Second.
Okay.
okay.
Roll call, please.
Okay, officially, I guess I should ask, are there any other nominations?
No.
No? Okay. So on the question of Mr. Watson for vice chair, Mr. Bishop,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Mathewson,
Yes.
Mr. Watson,
Yes. Then thank you, everybody.
Mr. Wisely,
Yes.
and Mr. Fowler.
Yes.
That's 6 yes, 0 no with 1 absent, and that is approval of Mr. Watson as the vice chair.
Okay. Moving on, consideration of the December 2020 regularly monthly meeting minutes as distributed.
Mr. Chairman, I move for acceptance of those minutes as distributed.
Second that. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bishop,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Mathewson,
Yes.
Mr. Watson,
Yes.
Mr. Wisely,
Yes.
Mr. Fowler.
Yes.
Very good.
Fred and Randy, did the first case show up yet?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, new business.
Yes. BZA 01-21, jurisdiction, Board of Zoning Appeals, being a public hearing on the matter of an application filed by Erica Y. Robinson, 605 South Willow Road, Muncie, Indiana, requesting a special use and a variance from the terms of the City of Muncie Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance to allow a beauty salon home occupation special use and a variance for a 4 foot by 4 foot ground sign rather than a 1 foot by 1 foot wall sign to advertise the salon business on premises located at 605 South Willow Road, Muncie, Indiana, as more accurately described in the application.
Who represents this case? If you could step up to the podium and give us your name and address, please.
Erica Robinson. My address is 605 South Willow Road, Muncie, Indiana, 47304.
Can you give us a little bit of description of what you're looking to do here, please?
Yeah, so I am wanting to have a one person, one chair salon in my home, be ran by myself. I would not have any other employees. It would be by appointment base only. For instance, like right now, I teach full time, so it would be like evenings and weekends whenever I wasn't doing that. But um, I'm wanting to have that in my salon uh, or in my home because with everything, that's kind of going on, it would be a way that I could stay home if my kids get sent back to full virtual. I could still make income and not have to worry about who's going to stay with them and those kinds of things. My son and I are both high risk, so it limits the exposure by being able to control the sanitation, who comes in and who comes out, those kinds of things. But basically, just a way to work for myself as well and to be employed and to bring in an income to support my family.
Question I have for you, you're saying it's by appointment only, so you're only going to have one person there.
Right.
Are you going to, you've got a very small driveway here. How, obviously you don't want them parking in the street as well. I mean, there is no parking in the street on this road. So how are you going to stagger these out so that parking in your driveway is not an issue here?
Well, I have room. There is a graveled, um, I've put gravel in next to the paved part of the driveway. There is enough room technically for 4 cars in the driveway itself. And then there's a 2-car garage, like where we park our personal vehicles inside of the garage. And then there's also room for 2 cars in the gravel part as well. But I mean, with it being appointment only, I would be able to stagger those out. Like, I know that it takes me 30 minutes to an hour to do a haircut. So I wouldn't be booking anyone. I mean, I would be spacing them out like 45 minutes or an hour, or something like that. So there really shouldn't be too much of an overlap of numerous cars just being parked in those spaces all the time.
May I ask a question, please?
Yeah.
Absolutely, Mr. Jones.
Okay. At any one point in time, what's the maximum number of clients you anticipate being in your building?
At one time, I would say, unless it was like I was doing a family, I would say no more than 1 or 2 at a time. But I do have friends who have like 4 kids, so I cut all of their hair, so it might be them and all 4 of their children at the same time. But really, it would be just by appointment. So it's not going to be.
Well, my point in questioning is perhaps somebody come in for a long procedure like I don't know,
Coloring.
Right?
yeah, permanent or something like that, where they can set off to the side and you'd have somebody else there. That's why I asked the question of how many you may have in your salon at any one point.
Yeah, at appointments, I don't usually stagger appointments too much like that. I usually keep it pretty much like one-on-one person when I do schedule things. So in that case, it would be no more than 2, at one time. And I actually do inside of the home. You can probably see on the plans, there is actually kind of a sunroom on the back part of the salon that I can use for seating, heated, and all of that. So they wouldn't actually have to be right inside the salon all at once.
How many people do you anticipate in a day?
Well, like I said, right now I teach full time. I teach full time down in Indianapolis. So if I'm able to do this, it's literally going to be like evenings and weekends. So it could vary. So I could have no one in a day, or if it's like a weekend, I could have 4 to 6 clients a day.
So I guess that's the next question is what kind of hours are you looking to have this operational? I mean, you're saying at night and weekends then?
Yeah. So like right now I get home around 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30 on some evenings. So it would be like 5 to, I wouldn't take anyone later than like maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evenings. On the weekends, probably between 9 and 5 on the weekends.
What about in the summertime when you're not teaching?
I will be teaching where I teach. It's an hour based program, so I teach cosmetology and aesthetics. They're an hour based program, and so we don't get summer breaks and all
Okay.
of that because we go year round.
Okay. Does anybody else from the board have any further questions? Seeing none, Ms. Roberts, you may have a seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in support of BZA 01-21?
No.
Seeing none, is there anyone in the audience that would wish to speak in opposition of BZA 01-21?
There's no one here.
Thank you, Fred, for being there and telling us that. Marta, would you like to read into the minutes the Plan Commission's meeting and what transpired there, please?
Yes. This is the recommendation for BZA 01-21, the appeal of Erica Robinson, and it's to the Board of Zoning Appeals from the Delaware Muncie Metropolitan Plan Commission. During the course of the January 7th, 2021 regular monthly meeting, the Plan Commission considered the application of Erica Robinson, 605 South Willow Road, Muncie, Indiana, requesting a special use to allow home occupation for a one-chair beauty salon in an existing home with a variance for a 4-foot by 4-foot sign on premises located at 605 South Willow Road, Muncie, Indiana. Erica Robinson appeared and answered questions from the commission, primarily dealing with the size and location of the yard sign. A neighbor forwarded correspondence stating she was not in favor of such a large sign and a business in the neighborhood. After discussion, a motion was made and seconded to approve a favorable recommendation for the special use home occupation for the one-chair beauty salon. With a vote of 7 yeas and 0 nays, official action was taken. After discussion, a motion was made and seconded to approve a favorable recommendation for the variance for a sign to allow it to be larger than 1 square foot, but that it should be located on the wall of the garage, not in the yard. With a vote of 6 yeas and 1 nay, official action was taken. So now, therefore, the Delaware Muncie Metropolitan Plan Commission favorably recommends BZA 01-21, the appeal of Erica Robinson, as stated above. Signed by Shannon Henry, President, and myself as Secretary.
And with that, they set forth 9 conditions that are in your minutes in your packet there. Whoever is making the motion, please set forth that those conditions continue upon this, this condition. Ms. Robinson, do you have something further to say?
Oh, did we need to speak about the sign? I didn't know since.
I guess we did not discuss the sign. That's correct.
Right. So I know that they wanted to, we had talked about making it smaller, which I was fine with. I brought this, and I don't know if you guys can see it very well or not, but this is the front, kind of the garage area that we were talking about. And we were talking about either having a sign the length of the garage door up here or here, I'm backwards in the camera, but where the red circle is going up and down. So the length for above the garage would be, or the size for the one above the garage would be 8 feet long and 3 inches wide. And then if it went down the middle of the doors, that one would be 13 inches wide but 4 feet long. If I could do the one above the garage, it would be easier for me to put a logo and words and kind of the information on that one. But those were kind of the two best places that we thought we could appropriately put a sign.
You said the one above the garage door was 8 feet long by how wide?
3 inches.
3 inches?
Or 3, was it 3 feet?
3 feet.
Feet. I'm sorry, I wrote down inches instead.
Let's say 3 inches.
That's skinny.
Nobody will be able to read that thing. Instead of the 8 feet, would you be able to scoot that down to maybe 6 feet?
I could
do 3 feet by 6 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that would be pretty close to the 4x4 that you're looking to have out there. The 3x8 would be pretty close to that.
I can
You
do
okay
that.
with that, Marta?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And at the Plan Commission meeting, some of the discussion did deal with just what she is giving to you, and that was doing it over horizontally over the garage doors or on one of the vertical panels. So.
Okay. So whoever's making the motion, if you could put that in there, that it would be 3 feet by 6 feet above the garage door, please. Thank you, Ms. Robinson.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion from the board?
One thing I might say, which will save whoever's going to make the motion, these conditions that were set forth in the case analysis are actually the provisions that are in the ordinance, and they would apply automatically because they are in the ordinance.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Chair, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move for approval of BZA 01-21 with a 3 foot by 6 foot sign above the garage door and the 9 stipulations set forth by the Planning Commission, I guess, that are in the ordinance.
And with the hardship.
With the hardship stated therein.
Thank you.
And for the applicant and applicant only?
And applicant only, yes, sir.
Thank you. We have a motion.
Second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bishop,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Mathewson,
Yes.
Mr. Watson,
Yes.
Mr. Wisely,
Yes.
Mr. Fowler.
Yes.
That is 6 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent, and that is approval of the special use and for the variance, it would be with the understanding that it is for a 3 foot by 6 foot sign, a wall sign above the garage doors only.
Thank you. Once your case has been read and approved or denied, you're free to leave. Next case, please.
Yes. BZA 02-21, Jurisdiction Board of Zoning Appeals, being a public hearing on the matter of an application filed by Anthony M. and Elba S. Kirkham, 13310 West State Road 32, Yorktown, Indiana, requesting a variance from the terms of the Delaware County Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance to allow the floor area of the accessory buildings to exceed that of the dwelling for a new pole barn in a residence zone on premises located at 13310 West State Road 32, Salem Township, Delaware County, Indiana, as more accurately described in the application.
Whoever represents this case, if you could step up to the podium and give us your name and address, please.
Tony Kirkham at 13310 West State Road 32, Yorktown.
Kirkham, what are you looking to do here?
Looking to build a new 30 by 40 pole barn, same size as an existing pole barn, and eventually taking the place of a traditional, what used to be a dairy barn that at some point will be done away with.
And this is just going to be for personal use only?
That's
storage
correct.
and all?
That's correct.
Storing farm equipment, stuff like that?
That is correct.
Okay, and you say you look to eventually tear the old one down then?
Eventually, but I wouldn't commit as to a timetable. But that's what provoked thinking about building a pole barn in the first place. Was the old barn needed to be painted. I couldn't find anybody to paint it. I did find a guy that said he would paint it, but he wanted to put a new roof on it first. So we were talking about $60,000 to repair a barn that was built in 1904. So when I bought the property in 2013, I wondered what I was going to do with the barn, whether to try to preserve it or do away with it. I tried to preserve it. That's becoming more problematic. It doesn't have much storage space. It's got a haymow in it with a low ceiling. So I can't put any of the tractors inside that barn. So I guess I see this barn as a refinement to the property. It kind of fits in with eventual resale, I suppose. I don't know when that would be, but I think it's a useful refinement to the farm and would help the value of the 60 acres.
Okay. Anybody from the board have any questions, Mr. Kirkham? Seeing none, you may have a seat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that would wish to speak in support of BZA 02-21?
There's no one else in the audience, Mr. Chairman.
I got to go through the rigmarole. Thank you, though. Is there anyone in the audience that wishing to speak in opposition to BZA 02-21? Seeing none, any further discussion from the board? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Or a motion.
Motion.
Oh, yes, sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion.
Get excited.
02-21 for approval and for the applicant and applicant only and the hardship stated therein.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call now.
Yes. Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Mathewson,
Yes.
Mr. Watson,
Yes.
Mr. Wisely,
Yes.
Mr. Bishop,
Yes.
Mr. Fowler.
Yes.
That is 6 yes, 0 no, with 1 absent, and that is approval of the request, and we will issue a certificate that sets forth the approval and forward a copy to you, and also retain one in the file, and that will allow you to move forward with obtaining your permits from our office. So.
Thank
Thank
you. Report from the director.
Yes. One thing I forgot to announce for the record when we were doing roll call is that our Mr. Bishop was reappointed by the mayor to a new 4-year term. So.
Well, that was going to be my next question. I assume we had everybody retained since we're here.
Yeah.
That's very good to hear.
Yeah.
Zane was the only position that expired at the end of the year. So,
I was glad when I got my packet and it didn't say vacant on there anywhere.
yeah, I know. I know. Definitely.
I would do it over the phone. Just call it.
That, the only other thing I might mention is that, probably next month, the Plan Commission will be kicking into gear with our, comprehensive plan and Muncie strategic investment plan updates. And you will probably be getting invitations to participate in terms of public input throughout the process. So just so you know, we're anticipating it to be about a 12-month process. And the consultant has already been asking for all kinds of background data. So I think it's going to be an exciting and good end result. So.
Good. Hey, Marta, how is, you adopted that new policy where if a case is low risk, not low risk, but doesn't have any controversy and stuff like that. Have you been seeing any of these cases that you're taking care of on your end?
Oh, the hearing officer?
Yes.
We have not, the last 2 meetings, we have not done any hearing officer cases. And I can't really remember when we did the last one, but so we haven't done any new ones probably since I reported on some of the ones that we heard like 3 months ago.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's a good thing to have, and if we can, eliminate some of these cases coming in front of us and stuff, it does help. So
yeah, and it like you say, it's for those cases that are very, very, I don't know, simple and straightforward, where there's absolutely no questions or opposition from surrounding property owners.
yeah.
So.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for adjournment. If Marta's report's all done.
Okay.
It is.
Do we have a second?
Oh, come on.
I'll second.
All right. Well, thank you. Hopefully soon we'll be back in the commissioner's courtroom in a meeting. So
yep.
Until then, we're adjourned.
Everybody stay safe.